Now we're going to learn how to graph system of linear inequalities. So we have two different inequalities given. You have 4x plus y greater than or equal to 8. So you're going to graph that. You get a region. And you're going to also graph x less than or equal to 2. And wherever the two regions overlap, that's the solution region, we're going to call it, because that's the region, a set of points where it will satisfy both of these inequality, not just the first, not just the second, both of them simultaneously. So let's go ahead and do that. So for the first one, let's call this one 1, this one 2. So for the first one, we can figure out its x and y intercepts. So for x-intercept, we're going to set y equal to 0. If y is equal to 0, you have 4x is equal to 8, and divide by 4x is equal to 2. So that's your x-intercept, 2, 0. And for the y-intercept, we're going to set x equals 0, and that would give us y is equal to 8. So you have the coordinates 0, 8. So let's sketch that. And for the second one, there is no need to do a lot of work because this is simply just a vertical line at 2, and then we're going to shade in everything to the left of 2 because x is less than 2. So now we're ready to sketch this into our Cartesian plane, just like this. Here's your x, here's your y, and we're going to now plot the intercepts. So we have 2, 0. Let's suppose this is 2. And then we have 0, 8. Let's suppose this is 8. And we connect them by making a straight line, a solid line. So something like this. So I'm just going to readjust. There we go. Now, which direction do we shade? Do we shade this way or do we shade that way? So you pick a point and plug it into the inequality. Let's pick this point right here, 0, 0. If I plug in 0, 0 into my inequality, I have 4 times 0 plus 0 greater or equal to 8. So we have 0 greater than or equal to 8. That's not true. So this is not the solution region. So the region that will satisfy this inequality will be the right half. So our shading region for this inequality is this way. So if you want, you can shade it in this way and then shade in the second region and then overlap. But I'm just going to draw an arrow indicating it's this direction. This is good enough. For the second inequality, we're going to find 2. Well, 2 is right there on the x-axis. And you draw a vertical line just like this. So straight vertical line. So perhaps this is straight enough. So that is our line x equals 2, and we want x to be less than or equal to 2. So less than 2 is this way. So if you shade the two regions, you'll see that the region that will satisfy both of these inequality is this right here. So that is what we're going to call the solution region. So everything else doesn't satisfy, so we don't want to shade this way in because that is not satisfied by the yellow inequality. And also we don't want to shade greater than 2 because that's not satisfied by the green one. So therefore our solution region is that. So this is what we call the solution region. Here's another example for you. So feel free to work it out on your own and then you can check. Let's go ahead and find the intercepts. Label our equations, inequalities. This is first, this is second. So for the first one, let's go ahead and find the x-intercept. So I'm going to set y equals 0. So that would give us x is equal to -4. So we have the coordinates -4, 0. And for the y-intercept, we're going to set x equals 0. So that would give us -4, y is equal to -4. That would give you y equals 1 if you divide both sides by -4. So our y-intercept is 0, 1. And we're going to plot them now. So here's our plane. We'll do the same thing for the second inequality as well. Here is x, here is y. So we have an x-intercept somewhere right here. Let's call this -4. Y-intercept 0, 1, perhaps right here. So not up to scale. Well, this is good enough. So this is my first inequality. Let's call this 1. Now, which direction do we shade? This way or that way? So we're going to pick a point, and I'm going to select the origin because it's always easy to compute. So plug in x equals 0, y equals 0. So we get 0 is greater than or equal to -4. That is true. So therefore, we're going to shade in this side. So again, feel free to shade in completely like that if you would like to indicate that's where you're shading in. So I think I'm going to keep it for now so you can see the overlap on this example. For the second inequality, we're going to do the same thing. We find the x-intercept by setting y to 0. So that gives us 3x is equal to 6. So divide both sides by 3, x is equal to 2. So we have the point 2, 0. And for the y-intercept, we're going to set now x equal to 0. That gives us, plugging in x equals 0 into the second inequality, you have 3 times 0, that would be 0. So y is equal to 6. So therefore, the y-intercept for this inequality is 0, 6. And now we'll plot them. So let me make it a little bit smaller for you to see. So I have x-intercept 0, 2. Let's suppose the 2, 0. This is right here. Suppose that's 2. And then y-intercept 0, 6. Perhaps this is 6. And then I make my boundary line just like this. So adjusting the point again, let's call that 6. So this is the inequality number 2 we labeled. Now which direction do we shade? This way or that way? So I'm going to go ahead and pick the origin again. So plug in 0, 0 into now the second inequality. So you plug in 0 for x, 0 for y, 0 less than or equal to 6. That is true. So for the second one, shading in all of this. So you can clearly see that the solution region is where the two colors intersect. So it'll be this guy right here, this region. So this is our solution region for this inequality. If you want, you can erase the outside shaded part so it doesn't give you too much crowd in the region. This is good enough. So this tells us this is our solution region. Okay, I hope this helps. See you next time.